Today, we head inside the mind to revisit Pixar's 2015 movie, Inside Out, and ask the question, does this emotional journey still feel all the feels, or has it lost its spark?
You could get lost in there.
Think positive.
Okay, I'm positive you will get lost in there.
Then, will Seth stump me on trivia, or will my emotions get the best of me?
Did Inside Out receive an 8-minute standing ovation at the world premiere at Cannes Film Festival? True or false?
And of course, how are we gonna rate it? Are you gonna take it home? Are you gonna watch it at Grandma's? Or are you gonna hide it in the attic? So grab your favorite snack, whether it's a slice of broccoli pizza, candy from Bing Bong's Tears, or gum with a catchy jingle.
Yes, again!
Because headquarters is open for business, this is Movies at Grandma's House. Hello, please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat and make yourself comfortable. This is Movies at Grandma's House, where we love to revisit the movies from our childhood to answer the question, does it still hold up? And is it family friendly enough that even Grandma can enjoy? And I'm your host, Isaac. Take her to the moon for me, okay?
And this is Seth. Congratulations, San Francisco. You've ruined pizza. First the Hawaiians, and now you.
Oh, it's great to see you, Seth. I think we're going to have fun with this. This is, I believe, the first Pixar film we have revisited since our season 2 Pixar. Am I wrong on that? I'm trying to remember.
It sounds right.
Okay, I'm excited for this one. We talked about coming back to Pixar. There's so many films that we've covered by then. So it's kind of like seeing an old friend. We're back to the basics with Pixar. But just as a reminder, which Pixar film it is, what is Grandma putting on for us today?
Inside Out.
So if you've never seen this before, fair warning, we're going to be breaking it all down, going into spoiler territory, so consider yourself warned. Well, let's get a little more details, a little bit more acquainted with this movie and some film facts. So Inside Out was released back on June 19th, 2015. It had a budget of $175 million. The box office, $859.1 million, a big hit for Pixar. Looking around at some reviews, IMDb is at an 8.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, 98%. Letterboxd, 3.8 out of 5. Currently, as of this recording, you can watch it for free on Disney+. It stars Amy Poehler, Phyllis Smith, Richard Kind, Bill Hader, and many more. It's in association with Pixar Animation Studios and Walt Disney Studios. And we have to know, how does Grandma feel about this one?
Granny's family-friendly rating for Inside Out is a B+ for adult themes and frightening imagery.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty tame movie. I would say we've gone through a few here recently, it feels like, that had some edgy content. This one, other than, its deeper themes, we'll talk about it a little bit more. It's pretty tame, actually. One of those old school kind of, animated films, it feels like anyway. But throw it out to you. Anything stick out to you when you're looking at the film facts for Inside Out?
I think really what hits me is the Rotten Tomatoes score. That's quite a feat. A lot of people would look at that and go, wow, it's a good movie. That is high rankings for a movie. And wow, that's just impressive. Very, 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 very impressive.
I was with you on that. That's what jumped out to me. I want to say, if it's not already a fun fact, it, I believe, is in the top 5 of Pixar movies. And that alone is incredible. The score of 98 is just incredible to think it got that. And IMDb was at 8.1. I want to say there's only been a few we've considered that's in that 8. It's typically about 7. There's not very many that get that threshold. So that's also remarkable. That jumps out to me. And the box office, I couldn't remember exactly, but I remember this being a pretty big hit, not getting close to $1 billion. Like, that's impressive considering this was an original movie. By this point, Pixar was starting to get into those sequels, and we've considered our fair share of Pixar movies. I mean, you have your Toy Stories, you have your Cars that have that franchise that are big hits. So that kind of sticks out to me too as well. Just those things across the board. I don't recall all those numbers, so still very impressive even by today's standards. But we'd love to hear from you. So be sure you leave a comment down below, your rating, your memories, all that good stuff. We'd love to hear it. We see you out there. Well, let's jump into this, Seth. I'm really interested. Again, this is over 10 years ago that this film came out, but what are your first memories?
So I remember seeing this when it was fairly new to home release. So it's one that I've had a decade to think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you want to think about this film. There's definitely a lot of thought that went into this film, and there's a lot of fun gags in that way. But first memories with me, this was before I had children. So it was like one of the last date nights that we had. We decided, let's go see this. It's Pixar. Up to that point, Pixar wasn't putting out, I would say, bad movies. It just had this vibe. Like people were like, is Pixar still the old? We considered, like I said, peak Pixar. It just felt like they did not have a bad movie. It was just one after the other. But they were starting to kind of slack a little bit by at least a lot of the masses, the reviews, those types of things. So I can only say my first memories, like the experience was something else. I walked out of that theater like it was almost life-changing. I know that sounds really crazy, but it was an experience of just, wow, what did I just watch? There was a lot of things I related to. We'll talk about a little bit more. But a little fun fact too, other than those memories of it was like a fun date night, it was before kids, it might have been the last one. There was a woman that was knitting in front of us. That's just something that stuck out to me, a random, when I think back of seeing this in the theater. And I'm like, that's like kind of impressive. People had their phones out and, they're that kind of thing before the movie starts. She's just sitting there knitting, I don't know, a sweater or something. This was back in June when it came out. We saw it. So I don't know if it was a sweater, if it was socks or what. But hey, more power to you. I mean, here we are 10 years later, I'm still talking about it. So, I don't know. Comment below if you knit when you go see a movie. I'm very interested. It's fascinating to me. Maybe it's just me. But with that said, again, 10 years ago, this came out. So what were your expectations coming back on the rewatch?
Really, the only expectations I had was to tell myself to try not to be overwhelmed with emotion. That's pretty much all I could do.
Yeah. Again, spoilers. Bring the tissues if you have emotions with this one. It's going to hit on a lot of emotions for you. I was just like, let me just buckle up for this ride, see how my kids react to it. They have seen it before, but I think it's been a little bit of time since we saw it. It seems like it makes the rotation. So I just wanted to pay a little bit extra attention to see what their reaction was to everything. Well, before we get into plot rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsor.
Hey, love movies as much as we do? Then bring the experience of the theater to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into the classics, the blockbusters, or indie gems, they have something for every single film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can save up to 15% on your order right now. Just use code Grandma's House at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today.
All right, let's pull up Disney Plus. Let's put on Inside Out and press play.
This movie tells the story from the inside. That's right. The emotions literally tell the story. As a young girl grows up, she is uprooted from the Midwest to San Francisco and learns to cope with her innermost self as she manages to deal with the situations as they arise. Well, how will she do when things go awry? Find out today on Movies at Grandma's House.
That's nice. I was just munching on my big poppin' popcorn. Stuff is delicious. I don't know. Have you had this yet, Seth?
Not yet, but I'm excited.
Okay, I'm going to send you some. This is a local kettle corn here in Ohio. So if you're in the Ohio area, check them out. They're going to be doing some events. This is like the perfect kind of snack for me to watch a movie like this. I was talking about memories, just going back before we had kids. Like, I don't know, those waves of emotions, pun intended, come back. It hits me right away. The first thing is the animation, the music. There's something about this movie that just clicks for me. I think again, we saw the reviews, but it seems like it clicks with a lot of people on just capturing emotions as much as this is fictional. And we've seen other movies do something similar. This is still a unique blend that can appeal to the family. This isn't one of those deep, like, I don't know what's going on. It kind of makes it simple, but it's complex at the same time. So that's what always sticks out to me. The second I hit play with this movie, it just brings me into that world. And I just spoil it right now. I love it. I love just that world that it builds. But I got to get thoughts from you. What are your first impressions as you go through the movie?
So really, it has an interesting premise. I'd say the premise of the film is probably one of the top tiers of is why it's such a good storyline. It has many relatable things. So like subject matter wise, there's a lot of things that people can relate to, whether, whoever they are. And it's a very interesting look at things for sure. A different take.
Absolutely. That's what make it so interesting is when you try to explain in this plot, there's actually several plots going on where it is a little complicated, but it is simple. It's just about this young girl that is pretty much in that time in her life where she's trying to adjust to change. Her family moves. So now this is a new world that she's into. She's leaving friends behind. They're from Minnesota where they enjoy doing hockey and those types of things. And it's just, I don't know how they do it, but there's inside of her mind what the majority of the movie takes place, but it also shows you outside of her coping. But then joy, one of the emotions, we'll get into characters, and sadness gets separated. So it's this almost adventure of, are those emotions going to get back in time before it's too late, while Riley, the main character, and her, what's going on inside of her head, is dealing with stuff on the outside. So one of the more unique stories, again, trying to break it down, it's a pretty complicated plot, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. To get into the plot, they wrote this one well. Like I mentioned, it has a great premise. So watching Riley grow up from the point of view of the emotions is very unique, like I said, and they can there's room to explore on how to do this. And so I think there's many different ways they could have done it, and it would have been astounding, regardless of what they did, because the premise is so strong.
Yeah. That it's Pixar too. It reminds me of just the way Pixar is able to tell a story, because if any other studio, I mean, I'm not saying they couldn't do a good job, but just, I got to hand it to Pixar. It's got this like fingerprint. And that's what I really love about this movie, is it makes you feel like the traditional Pixar movies that we went through. It could almost, like, if you didn't say the release date, say it was back during that time, you'd probably believe it. That's how it feels. They kind of got back to basics of, we're going to go more on emotion, which the premise is about emotion, so it better be, but telling it in a way that it'll tug at your heart and really bring you into it. It's not just, here's a movie, here's what happens, and we're going with it. Pixar just has, I don't know how they do it. I mean, just, we talked about it again. Keep referencing back our season 2 of Peak Pixar. This just feels like it. It's just so incredible to me. Still to this day. I mean, I talked about the music. That's just kind of a side point. I love that theme. It's just right off the bat when Riley is first born and joy is the first emotion there. That music's playing. It just, I don't know, it just sets the tone so well. It just brings you in. It's like, it hit for me the first time. It still hits to this day every time I see it. But we kind of touched on it. We can obviously go back to the plot and kind of bring that out. But I feel like we've been kind of circling around. What did you think of the characters? And these characters are very, very unique because they are the emotions of Riley, for the most part.
Yeah, we can dig in. I just wanted to say that the voiceovers are probably the strongest part of the movie for me.
Yeah.
All the main characters added pieces to the puzzle, and they just fit where it needed to go. So they did really well with the characters. Some of them were just more enjoyable than others, but they all were, like I said, a piece of the puzzle. So it kind of worked together.
Yeah. Yeah. The voice acting is just, man, it's one of my favorites. We've had pretty stiff competition. If you're going to force me to rank, it's going to be so hard to go back through all the movies.
I don't even want that job. I don't want that job.
No, it just boggles my mind, like how incredible some of these voice talents are. And Amy Poehler, just, I think of Joy. Like now I hear her just do interviews. I think of Joy. She just is that character. And she's the driving point of the plot because she's wanting what's best for Riley. And if you're going to talk about, again, the plot of the basis of everything is Joy's trying to fix things. Of no, she has to be happy. But you come to find out the other character, Sadness, who's voiced by Phyllis Smith, who I forgot that's the same name she had in The Office, the TV show. There's a lot of Office references in this movie. You have her, and then you have Mindy, who does Disgust. And it's just something about how you feel with the characters driving that plot, with Joy wanting what's best, but it's really, you come to find out, Sadness is needed. She's pushing Sadness away. Like no, that's negative. That's a negative. That's a negative. What I love about this movie is those characters, you grow to see them just work together. And at the beginning, it's like Joy's kind of calling the shots. But by the end of it, they're all together and they work in harmony. That's what I just love too. And like you said, the voice acting is so great because at one point, again, the plot, Joy and Sadness get separated. They get sucked down into long-term memories because it's headquarters where they kind of run the board. Again, it's just great touches of like, what is it like inside of your head if it was a cartoon? And it's Fear, who's, or Anxiety, it's Fear. Anxiety is not till later, of Bill Hader, who does a terrific job. I love his character. He's just always afraid, like you would think with Fear. And then, like I mentioned, Mindy is Disgust. And then you have Lewis Black, who just perfect, absolutely perfect as Anger. So yeah, I'm with you on the voice acting. It's just so great. And I think it's Diane Lane is the mother. That was another. I mean, they've got some pretty big stars if you look it up.
Yeah,
and they just do a great job with it. It's just so great. But I can't go on enough. Like this movie just hit for me. The other aspect of the story of they moved, that felt like me growing up because we moved, and the emotions you go through when you're a child and you're adjusting to a new world. That's really what it is. Like there's a scene where she's walking in and the house is empty. It brought me back immediately. Like I remember that walking in and you're just kind of like soaking it in as a kid. Your emotions are much higher at that point, and you're just, I don't know how they do it. The core memory part, what'd you think of that? Because I guess that wasn't a thing until this movie, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought it was interesting. I have a fun fact on the memories, which is really interesting to me because they did some research before they made this film and got some experts. But yeah, I love what they did with the memories and the core memories, and I think what you mentioned about the sadness thing, people need to realize that as you grow up, you learn to balance your emotions. So you go through a gamut of emotions every day, but you have to learn to, not get overly sad or, overly angry. And I think they did that well. And the characters that I should say the voiceover actors were just amazing at their different roles. And like I said, it was a puzzle piece that just fit. So, yeah, it's truly amazing. And the core memories we have core memories our whole lives. And when you watch them fade away for her or fall away even, it's like really sad to see that happen.
Yeah.
So
100% with you. Yeah. Well put, because that is kind of what, again, joy is just, no. That's not good. That's not good. This has to be this core memory. And that's why this movie, I mean, we could break this down for probably hours of just how it kind of, on a simple way on the surface, you can see it, but you could break down because, like you said, as you get older, you have these core memories. And of course, in the movie, it's represented by this like globe, kind of a cube, or not cube, but globe. And there's joy, but sadness is touching it and it becomes sad. And it's, hey, stop touching it. What you come to understand is your memories, you might have happy memories, but they do become sad over time.
Yeah.
And that sounds negative, but it can be a beautiful thing when you think about it, just because it's you reflecting upon a happy memory, but you understand as you get older, times change. It's just really deep. I'm just touching the surface. I mean, you could really get into it. And they embrace that at the end. I mean, at the end, there's these memories being made. And at the very start, it's one emotion. It's, anger. She didn't want to eat her food. She's afraid of something, or disgust. Then by the end, it's this mixture of memories. So that's another thing. This movie just teaches embracing those emotions, and sadness obviously is a big part of that. Like, again, I go back to people continue to put that in a negative light. I appreciate that they highlight, yes, sadness has a place. Nobody wants to be sad. That's not the point. It's just, it does have its place. And my goodness, you touched on it. I mean, the memories start to fade away. They call it the dump, because that's another thing. That it's such an expansive world, which you'd expect in someone's mind. But once you go to the dump, those memories kind of fade away. Maybe back up a little bit, because there's the character Bing Bong. Or go ahead. What were you going to say?
Before you get there, it just reminded me. So when you're sleeping, your brain is filing away contents, and it will get rid of things it doesn't think it needs. So this movie's literal. I mean, it's real stuff. So it's just really amazing. Talk about Bing Bong, I feel like it needed its own separate movie because it was such a strong character.
Yes.
I will talk about that later as well. But yeah, Bing Bong is quite a wonderful imaginary type of creature, and just something you could tell he was a character that got her through to hard times. And that was I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah. So it, again, was relatable, because I had an imaginary friend growing up. I named him Bill, and he would always push the shopping carts in the parking lot. You know how you'd see a cart just kind of roll away?
That's cute.
And so I would be like, oh, there's Bill. He's putting the cart away or something. I had that. I mean, that was just a relatable part. I go back to the moving aspect, but so my first time watching it, man, I was literally flooded with emotions. I don't know how I did it, but it's capturing that childhood, those memories that you have. And Bing Bong is just kind of that, what it needs to balance it, because it's dealing with some serious tones, because Riley's starting to get to a point where she's not feeling anything, and she runs away. And that's why they're trying to get back to headquarters to stop her from not feeling anything. And that's where the deep tones really set in. But Bing Bong kind of levels it out. He's kind of that fun. They go through all these like obstacles to try and get back. And he's just that fun character. Richard Kind, just, I don't know, man. He's just so good. So good. I love his just the demeanor he has and what he brings to this character. I don't know if you want to touch on it though, because the big thing that people remember about this movie.
Well, I suppose it didn't bother me that much because Bing Bong was there and he was trying to stay positive.
Yeah.
And I think that helped push the scenes forward where it could have been like overwhelmingly dark. And I'll get into that later. But I just feel like Bing Bong was that balance, as you said.
Mhm.
And those scenes were watchable because they had him in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, because he's having, I don't know, just this innocence about him up to that point. And what I also love, kind of a side point, but he gets upset because they take his wagon. There's a wagon that by song, it gets powered and they throw it into the dump. And he gets upset and Joy's just like, come on, we got to keep going. We got to keep going. And is trying to cheer him up, but it's not working. It's not till sadness sits with him and just listens to him. And I mean, it's just a broken record at this point. I keep saying it, but they highlight just how important sadness can be. I don't know how they're able to do it, but they're able to capture it in a positive way. And that feels like a negative. I can't stress that enough, but he still gets right back up and then he's cheerful about it. He brings that back to the level. So that's why it's so devastating is their Joy and him fall into that dump. And I think when I first watched it, I saw it coming. Because if this movie was made today, I think it would have been like, oh, he's out today. He's out. He's fine. It just feels like a lot of movies don't go there, but they went there. And when he doesn't see his hand, I was like, oh, no, he ain't going to make it. There's just something and they kind of hint at it. They kind of give you that little nod. But when he goes to say, come on, Joy, I got a good feeling about this. Oh, it was like a gut punch. I remember the first time watching this because I'm watching Bing Bong and I'm having a great time, like we're talking about. Like he's that happy character. And I'm thinking, oh, Bill, my imaginary character. And then when he makes that sacrifice because he realizes he's too much weight for them to get just up on the cliff, when he starts to fade away, it was like a deep moment for me because I'm seeing my childhood kind of fade away. Oh, oh man, it's such a gut punch. And that's Pixar. Pixar just does that. They know how to do that. We've talked about a few other films where this one, it almost takes a cake for me, at least me personally. You can say whatever scene of Pixar, but this is in my top of like, man, I really felt that, especially the first time, but I still do. But I just remember sitting there like, wow. Like it felt like, dare I say, almost therapy of like, I'm going through my childhood and it was that release of like, this is letting go almost. But anyway, I could go on and on. There's lots of deep themes in this movie you could absolutely break down. But what else do you want to touch on, whether it's quotes or scenes or anything like that?
I've got, I can't speak. I've got a quote and a scene I'd like to talk about, but if after I say my quote, maybe you can jump in with some quotes as well. So the quotes that I really enjoyed was, come on, group hug. You too, Anger. I love that so much. I love that so much.
Oh, yes. There's just a lot of little clever quotes. There's a lot that are more involved. So it's not as much one-liners, but it's just, I think this is one of the stronger screenplays also at Pixar. If you look at, again, the subject matter, but the little jokes they work in, I got to hand it to them. I love how they have shifts that they do sleep. So they'll actually watch the dreams, and the dreams have like a filter on it. Again, they do such a good job of like, yeah, I've probably had a dream like that where it's just so weird. They make it so obscure. I mean, just that alone makes you chuckle. But like Fear has this shift and he's like, let me guess, go to school with no pants on. And that's the premise, like, called it. Just stuff like that was great. There's the part where they're walking through and it's, I think, Imagination Land. There's all these different things in Riley's head, but there's her imaginary boyfriend. He's just, I would die for Riley. And Bing Bong's like, oh, I don't remember him. And he's like, I'm from Canada. I don't know why that makes me chuckle. And then at the end,
a good line.
Yes, it's great. Just little stuff like that you'll catch. And at the end, she makes like, I don't know, 30 or 40 of them. And they're just like, I would die for Riley. I would die for Riley. I still chuckle to this day about it. I don't know why, but if you can get the little subtle hints, you'll really appreciate it. There's a clown that is her worst nightmare they unleash. Again, going back to the dreams. I mean, there's so much that you can dissect, but there's many quotes of the characters that go on. You mentioned I love that, congratulations, San Francisco, you just ruined pizza. Lewis Black, he has a lot of those one-liners. I like also when they're in the long-term memories, there's these two, I forget what they're called, but they're going through and cycling out, like you were saying. When you fall asleep, you get rid of the old ones you don't think, and they're like, oh, look, piano lessons. He's like, keep heart and soul and chopsticks and dispose of the rest of them.
I love it.
I just love that. Little touches you'll probably appreciate because, yes, to this day, that's all I can really play on piano. I don't know how they did it, but but yeah, anything else that you wanted to bring out?
Yeah, so I like the scenes with Bing Bong the most. I'm going to be rehashing this from what we both said, but voiced by Richard Kind. He brought the levity to the darkened scenes, which we've talked about deeply. And I feel like he sparked imagination with his songs. Just so much fun and made me laugh. And I really appreciate what he brought to the table. To me, it's not so much his voice as the way he speaks.
Yeah.
And I've always enjoyed the way he speaks. It's just really like lighthearted and humble and approachable. And I think everybody needs a Richard Kind or a Bing Bong in their life for sure.
I agree. Yeah. Again, he's just a great balance. He does like get serious at times, though. There's that part where they're in the dump and Joy is frantically, and he's just like, "Would you stop it, Joy?" And like you're saying, it's the way he says things. It's not just saying words at someone or shouting or whatever. It's just the manner. And he has this literally in his name, Richard Kind. He has this kindness about him in his voice that, like you said, for a character like Bing Bong, it just works so well. I can't go on enough. He's one of those like scene stealers. And again, man, that still gut punched me. Just that he unfortunately is in the dump and fades away. That's why I think if you had any other character, it wouldn't have been as tragic. That's what speaks volumes is he's kind of that scene stealer, but they still went there. And thankfully, everything works out in the end. And, there's a lot of those deep themes, but he, like we've talked about, was just a great balance to everything else that's going on. Well, you kind of hinted at it. I'm sure there's some interesting ones. So what kind of fun facts you got?
So the first fun fact I found was some memory orbs in Riley's mind contained scenes from other Pixar movies, such as Carl and Ellie's wedding from Up.
I love that. Just little subtle things. If you're looking close, you'll almost be rewarded because you think to yourself, nah, there's probably nothing here. But if you sat there and paused stuff, I'm sure you'll. That's just so fun.
Speaking of that, the next one in Riley's classroom at number A113.
Oh yeah,
on the map in the back of the room, has pins plotting out different locations worldwide, referring to where all the Pixar movies are set.
That's incredible. I didn't catch that part. I get the A113.
I didn't catch it either. I just found it in research.
Now, do you remember seeing the ball? I don't think the ball is in this.
I don't think I saw it. No.
Okay. We'll have to do some more research. That's something I forgot to do, but that was something we did.
I was kind of on the lookout and I couldn't find it, but
yeah, I didn't see it, so we'll have to look it up.
The next one I kind of touched on. We both touched on. So psychologists and experts worked with the writers to accurately depict the mental process, taking short-term memories and transferring them into long-term storage.
Ah, I like
that.
So,
like at nighttime, you're like defragmenting your brain. Your brain is getting rid of things you don't need. It's sorting out problems that you don't, you're not even thinking about. And it's doing a lot while you're sleeping that, your brain's super active. That's why your eyes are moving so much.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. I want to say we didn't touch on it too much, but they're going through the abstract, area. I heard an actual psychiatrist, they said that is the levels. Cause she's like, oh, now we're going into, I forget, it's like we're breaking down or something. And all the stages, sadness is, she read the manual and knows them all.
Yeah.
So they said, those are the stages. So exactly what you're saying. They did their research. I think you would have to, but it's still, I give them so much respect and credit when they do that.
As a hockey fan, this one really hit me. So depending on the country of release, Riley's father's daydreams are either hockey or soccer.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. that was a great scene too. Yeah, he's distracted and he's little subtle things. Just you gotta enjoy the humor in it. Yeah, that's great.
All right, it's time for a fun fact trivia question. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm hoping I get this one.
I think this is a softball, so don't overthink it. All right.
Okay.
So true or false, did Inside Out receive an 8-minute standing ovation at the world premiere at Cannes Film Festival? True or false?
It better if. I'm going to say true.
It's true. You got it right.
8 minutes. Wow. That's, yes. I would be right there along with them. I mean, I kind of gave it away. I enjoyed this movie, but it's awesome still to hear that. That's showing respect. They got impacted at that festival. That's so cool. But yes, another trivia. Didn't stump me this time, but you did tell me it was a softball, so I do appreciate those softballs every once in a while, regardless. So,
As I was getting ready to start recording, I was like, should I change it to like a multiple choice? Should it be like 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes? And I was like, you know what? That might be too hard. So I think I went with the right one. So you got it. Good job.
well, thank you. I appreciate it. I probably would have thought at least 5 minutes because that would have. I would think if it's less, maybe it doesn't make news or it's not notable. I think
For
some
the
films,
not so into films people, an 8 minute standing ovation is probably like, this, like, that's one of the greatest things of all time, because to get a standing ovation is rare, and then to keep one is very rare. So it's well done, I should say.
yeah, that's awesome. Well, I haven't been stuffed this time. I'll take it, softball or not, but great question still. Awesome. That's so cool to hear that. But before we get to our reviews, we like to look around the net. We like to see what kind of thoughts are out there. So Seth, what kind of reviews are you seeing?
So the first one I found was Squiggly Crunch says, an interesting concept with a handful of inconsistencies, 6 out of 10.
Okay. I've heard some that didn't like this movie. So, I mean, we kind of said this and that, but I can kind of understand it. It's a different kind of movie as much as, again, the reviews might be positive. Maybe it just didn't hit for you. So I can kind of see that.
The second one I found was Oliver Ginger said, tears of joy, 10 out of 10.
There will be tears if it relates to you like me. I mean, I'll be the first to hear, man. I had tears in my eyes when I first saw this. Like, it'll hit you for sure. So I relate to that review.
I hope I'm saying this right, but J. Tenda House says, Bing Bong carries, 6 out of 10.
So probably just didn't like most of it, maybe just like Bing Bong part of it, which, again, we talked about, it kind of steals the show there a little bit, but if it doesn't hit, it doesn't hit. For me, again, spoilers, it kind of hit for me, so I don't know what else to say. Well, one more thing we like to do. We like to put this to the kid test, and I have 5 children, 4 of them that can actually watch movies and enjoy them. I have a 10-year-old, 8, 6, and 3-year-old, and a newborn. And just universally, they enjoy this movie. There's just a lot of fun. They enjoy Bing Bong being one, but they also like anger. Anytime he was blowing up and just upset, they were chuckling and laughing. And as much as we talked about, we didn't get into it too in depth, but there's a lot of deep themes. They seem to enjoy that aspect of it. They were really engaged with it. They weren't distracted with other things. They could really sit down and watch it. And the first time I ever played this for them, I thought, is this going to be a little too deep for them? But it's just, I don't know. Pixar just has that touch. I don't know what else to say. It's kind of a universal. I just put it simply. They all enjoy this movie. So it passes the kid test. I mean, we talked about Granny's rating. There's not really much really to look forward. There's those deep topics, but it's also where, kids can enjoy it, if that makes sense. It's not going to go over their heads too much, but adults can enjoy it as well. So that's probably the best way I can really put it. Well, let's get down to it. Let's put our official rating on it. So we're going to start with you, Seth. Have to ask you the question for Inside Out. How are you going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic?
I've seen this 4 or 5 times now. I was really hoping I'd enjoy this with these most recent visits to the film. However, it can't keep my attention, and I felt it was super boring to me. I can't stress enough, I really wanted to enjoy this one, but I'm going to have to hide in the attic, and maybe I'll come back to it when I'm cleaning off the cobwebs down the road.
Hide it in the attic. That's strong. Wow. Okay. Well, I understand. Like I said, it's maybe that niche kind of movie. I'm the complete opposite. I mean, I kind of raved about it here. I don't know how I don't know. To me, there's like Ratatouille, kind of that Oscar movie. I feel like this is right below that. I will give props to Ratatouille. This is just a beautiful movie to me. Like, maybe it doesn't capture attention and all that, and I totally get it. Everybody has their taste. To me, this was like reliving my childhood. There's just so much to relate to with Riley. As much as she was a girl, she was going through those changes. Like I mentioned, we moved when I was younger, and there's a point where she, loses joy and sadness. She can't feel those emotions. She's left with fear, disgust, and anger. Somehow there was times in my life I look back on, there's even like little glimpses of it before she goes to try and ride down a rail. And that's when sadness was still there. But it's something she enjoyed doing. And she just didn't enjoy it anymore. That little things like that just clicked for me. And like deeper things we didn't really touch on. Her personality were islands that spread from her core memories. It was like family, goofiness, so on and so forth. but those all crumbled over time. And it was just like, as I'm watching this movie, and still do, it was just like, that's what it feels like when you're growing up. You kind of lose a little bit of your personality, and it's sad. But there's just something about this movie, why I call it beautiful, is it brings it back in a nice way where, at least for me, I walked out feeling refreshed. I like, some people were kind of devastated from that Bing Bong scene. That's why I was like, we got to touch on that. But for me, I felt just change. I was just like, wow, I experienced something of emotions that I didn't know I had, honestly. It was like just going back to childhood. So is it any surprise? I'm going to take this one home. I'm going to be the opposite of you, but it clicks for me. I totally get, I've heard that what you're saying. It's not something people can get into. But I think if it's something that clicks for you, man, you're going to be invested on this one.
I will say, this has everything I should love. I love the voiceovers. The characters are great. The way who they hired was great. She moved to San Francisco, my favorite city in the world.
Right.
I'm a huge hockey fan. I'm a huge psychological fan. It's got a lot of features, a lot of things that I should love about this film. I don't know if it's a visually stunning to me, like where it's too much for me to take in. Like it's really bright, vibrant colors the entire film.
Yeah.
And that might have a problem with me. I don't know, but it was just, there's something about it. I can't retain my attention with this film. And I hate to say that, but it's just how I feel.
It's interesting just to get the points, though, because like we were talking about reviews, I've always thought, oh, this is one of Pixar's best, but there's also the other side. Like, you're not alone. I've heard a few that said, yeah, I just couldn't get into it. I don't know what it is. And if it hits for you, it hits. That's all I can really say. Each one's have different backgrounds, different upbringings. Like I said, not everybody maybe had something that they clicked with. For me, it just clicked. I don't know what else to say. Like, if you want my backstory life outside of, Riley being a girl and moving from Minnesota to San Francisco, we didn't move out of state. But still, that experience, like, that's the best way to summarize it by, movie form. And I can see that too with the animation. We didn't touch on the animation too much. I enjoyed it. It kind of reminded me of like Animaniacs a little bit at times. The emotions,
okay.
They're like, wavy a little bit.
Okay.
It kind of matched the emotions. So maybe that does mess with some people. I could see that. For me, I was enjoying it because it reminded me of that kind of animation, and I grew up watching it. But absolutely understand it. It's still, I think people can give it respect. I've heard people say it's a good movie, but the best thing I can say is just watch it, see for yourself. Like I said, if it hit for you, it hits.
It has one of the strongest premises, I think, of any Pixar film. I do agree the script is written really well. There's just something about it that I can't cling on to, and I don't know why.
Yeah, maybe next time, but it's all good. That's what we love about this podcast. You might have one reaction, you might have another. So here's a great example of it. You could be on one end and the other. So, well, there it is, folks. We got another movie in the books. This was so much fun to go back to, another Pixar movie. So maybe comment below what's another Pixar movie you'd like for us to cover next. We might go back and revisit them again. But for now, that's what we're doing. We got Inside Out in the books. But before we go, Seth, why don't you tell the good people where they can find and connect with us?
You can find us on YouTube, Threads, Facebook, Instagram at Movies at Grandma's House, and on TikTok at LADX Media. Feel free to email us movie suggestions, memories, comments to moviesatgrandmashouse@gmail.com. We have a very excellent newsletter, so check that out, as well as a Patreon with exclusive content for below fans. As always, we are brought to you by movieposters.com, so please use code Grandma's House, that's all one word, at checkout to save up to 15% off.
All good stuff there. Yeah, make sure you're on our newsletter. That's where you can be up to date with all things movies at Grandma's House. And we are partnering with Big Poppin'. Again, just a reminder, if you want some good kettle corn and you're in the Ohio area, they do different events. So be sure you're on a newsletter, because we'll give you all the details for where you can check them out, different events they'll be at soon. But what better snack than some popcorn, but make it kettle corn from Big Poppin'. Well, that's going to do it for our time at Grandma's House. But don't worry, we will be back soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Bye.